advice, sincere advice, particularly at this juncture. So I think there you can play a very major role. This institute can play a very major role.
Of course, of late I must say that ONGC has given them a chair, and Welling has a chair, Coal India has given. So this, I think, is improving. But you can encash totally and fully their scope. Scope is the national, is a club of the PSU. You try to enter scope also. EDSIL, I forgot it. EDSIL is educational. I tell you, in the country, but I was Secretary of Education, I know, they tell me, sir, can you help us in consultancy? I did a consultancy myself at my level. They approached me, of course, to IMI, not independently. I said, you go to IMI, tell IMI has to commission me. I will not do it directly because it's ethics. So it's a sharing pattern. IMI takes project, gives me a share. Fine, that's not an official done. EDSIL is waiting for partnership because they have no expertise.
Yes.
They have a new CMD, director, they all people are floating and all that.
Every 3 years they are.
The name is there, expertise is nothing. So I think collaborative research number 2, that is number 3. If you do EDSIL and IPT, both are public sector. Tremendous. Any university coming in India, they will come to you and EDSIL. The educational consultancy is a huge consultancy. But problem is that
all the countries require that.
the problem is that I know EDSIL very
African
well.
countries and all.
EDSIL doesn't have expertise. So people don't come to EDSIL because EDSIL has no expertise. But EDSIL, if they partner with an expert body like you,
Yes.
1 or 2 projects will keep running for you. So please note it. EDSIL is one. Others also. You can, finance companies, you have a lot of strong finance group here. Finance companies, in many ways, PFC, REC, whatever, they can do in many ways, collaborative research with your own, because you are the premier body of RCS, you are the public sector.
That's true. That's what I'm
We are
saying.
already having collaborate with
REC.
side. IP said jointly we are conducting training.
Even state government is also
Yeah.
looking, look at them that is
Also state government.
very well.
Your schemes, of course, planning commission is not disbanded, but there is a standing instruction of planning commission. To continue a scheme, major scheme, you must have an independent evaluation. Government scheme to be evaluated independently to have a continuation. Of course, Niti Aayog, I don't know, but department will do it. If there is no planning commission, department will do it. There is a policy that you must review schemes by a third party to find out how effective it is, otherwise don't continue it. Who can fit in that role better than IT? So I am not, please understand, I am not finding fault. We are suggesting ways you can encash the current. So thank you, Professor. Can I request?
Yeah. So at the outset, I am very thankful to the institute for inviting me over here. And Professor Dutt, who is the chairperson of the council, my regards to you and other distinguished fellow colleagues out over here. Thanks for this opportunity. Sir, whatever I am going to speak is based on my experience and the objectives which I have expressed out over here. At the outset, I will first of all basically emphasize the same point. IP is more focusing on the quantity as compared to quality. So I think it is the right time that we should introspect, whether it is in terms of number of courses, or it is in terms of number of journals, or it is in terms of number of research projects that we want to have it. So what is the focus? I think we want to basically do everything, but without having any core competency. So I think it is an age, friends, where we are trying to look in for what is our niche. IPE wants to be known for what. I think that is very important, first of all. Secondly, what I have just looked in for is that I do not know whether you have basically made the profile of the faculty, and in the profile of the faculty which is there on the website, have you basically mentioned what are their core areas of research? I do not know. If you have not done it, I think it's the right time. We should focus. What are their areas of research? Because every person cannot do research in everything, whatever comes and whatever is being entrusted by the institute. Once you have identified your core areas, my request again will be that whatever are the important research work which has been done by that concerned faculty should be
listed out over there. I'll advise you for this, you go on the website for IIMs and try to look in for profile of any one of the professors out over there. I think you'll be in a position to look in for. And he says, I have done a research paper in this HPR. So that means HPR is one of the journals which has been listed out over there. So I think I do not know whether you have done this exercise or not. I think at IP University we have started this process and we are in the process of identifying what are the areas of research, and accordingly whatever are the areas of research, what researches have been done and in what type of journals they have been done, that should be projected out over there. That is going to add to the visibility, not of the institute but of the faculty. Another thing which I was just trying to look in for that we have done at our institute, that we have identified a list of journals. Because now a lot of ranking institutions are coming, and Professor Rath is also trying to talk in terms of IQUIS or ASBS and things like that. These are international agencies. Now UGC also talks in terms of national ranking system and things like that. So they have started talking in terms of Scopus index journals. And when we try to talk in terms of Scopus index journal, I think I do not know where the IP strength lies. So that means if any of the researches have been done and have been published in some other journals which are not as a part of the Scopus, I think your research is zero. You stand where you started from. So I think it's the right time you should introspect and prepare a list of journals which basically are available over there in the Scopus, and then make. No, I don't know.
All the journals that we publish or that we publish, mostly they are listed in a directory.
Cable
Or
bit.
tablets and so on. But Scopus is something which is very important.
Important.
Like we as you said, sir, we are working towards it. That is where we will get the citations, the impact factor and other things. So we are moving towards.
Yeah, ma'am, because this is very important, because we had looked in for this API index and faculty development index, basically has resulted in what faculties to publish their papers in terms of numbers, right? Best researcher award that is instituted in the universities, institutes have looked in for, they are just worrying about the numbers. And
Sorry, does scope insist on that kind of a branding or rating before they take your journal? They don't wait for that. Just because scope is suggested in your journal. Have they sort of retested or
It's
deleted?
not pre-tested, sir. For a journal to be effective in Scopus, there are some
criteria.
criteria.
Which age will not take?
Stage thing also. The journal must be the journal
5 years old, 5 years circulation.
That's all. That's all. Only 3 years circular.
No, not only that.
Quality, because
Quality.
age must be look at quality. Whatever they will not take it up. What quality they have seen in your journal? Just to know.
No, actually this journal was being published by IP for
I know.
4 years, 4 or 5 years. And then we took an initiative to write to Scope, and then they have evaluated the kind of publications, and then there has been an agreement entered into where now Sage has taken over the publication part. Now for Sage, this Indian Journal of Corporate Governance to get into Scopus, it must see 5 years of circulation in the market, readability, people should be viewing, people should be downloading. Based on that, an impact factor gets created, and then comes all the
You
spin-off
give time for
benefits.
that.
Sometimes.
What about your previous journal, oldest journal?
We still have it.
It is not by Sage.
It's not by Sage, but we're trying that with Springer now.
Also, corporate governance has been taken away.
It's corporate governance is taken over by Sage. There's another journal since 1977 we have this. It's called the Journal of the Institute of Public
This is
Enterprise.
premier, I mean, first one, very
Yes, the
first
very
one.
first one. That has seen volumes after volumes, and we are now working with Springer.
So that you try to, that is your,
That's a hardcore area also.
Torch bearer.
It's about IPE.
there is torch bearer.
Yeah.
So that should be rated. That should be rated by the, appropriate.
Guys, that is important, right? To focus on your
Yeah.
strengths rather than basically making them diversified. So I think that focus has been lost.
Another thing which basically I will like to add out over here is that whenever any article is written by any faculty member, I'm not sure whether it is always coming out of a funded project, or it is also an article relating to any type of burning issue that relates to any type of research interest. Need not be. So then why basically IP is always trying to focus, because throughout the whole presentation and throughout the discussions, whatever I have learned out over here is that you are only after fund. I don't know why you are trying to focus more on funds. I belong to a university where funds is not a problem. I just give you an idea. No, basically I belong to IB University, it's a state university. I write to my university, okay fine, this is a project I want to do it. I have not even approached ICSSR, I have not applied to UGC, I have not applied to, I am eligible to apply to any of the funding agencies. I write to my university and university says, okay, for what you want to have the fund? I say the basic requirement which I require to have a fund is for data collection. They say, okay, tell me how much money you want. Right? I say, okay, fine, for field collection of data and all, I require 1 lakh rupees. They say, okay, fine, go ahead. It's a research grant we have given to our faculty. So I just want to understand from you why we are basically looking after the major research projects only. Because rightly he has said most of the projects which are funded are for the sake of being funded. Are you getting my point? That means the research that we are trying to do is almost nil. It is only that, okay, fine, I'll apply out over there. Mr. Ajay Gupta is sitting out over there. Oh, I am an institution belonging to ICSR. I'll get my project funded. I have got the project funded. Research is what basically for the sake of research. I have seen these types of projects, ma'am, because Professor Ajay Pandit has also rightly said that most of these researches, when we are trying to do with funding from the funding agencies, we are under a lot of pressure. What is the pressure? I just tell you. I have also done one research project from UGC. The pressure is what there's a lot of documentation to be done. I have to move, say, I have to do something, data collection in terms of traveling form भरो, ये करो, आप इधर ऐसे कैसे चले गए थे, आपने रसीद नहीं लगाई है, आपने ये नहीं किया है, so रजिस्टर कहाँ है आपका, ये audit होगा. So basically I lost my interest in what? In doing the project, I am only doing what the clerical. मैं अपना रजिस्टर दबा के और वहाँ क्लर्क के पास बैठा हूँ, सर ये देखना ये ठीक है मेरा बिल, नहीं नहीं अभी नहीं आना, कल आना, अभी मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है. So I just want to say, if a good researcher is there, he will not be bugged with what? These types of administrative difficulties. My request to you is that you basically encourage your faculty to take up the research projects, which basically is the need of the hour. And try to basically look in for doing those types of research projects with the help of the students. What we have started doing is that now we are trying to involve our students. And what is the involvement of the student is in terms of data collection. We give them everything. We try to make them as the data collectors only. We ask them, okay, these are the questions, you go out over there, we get the appointments and we are in a position to get the data. Now come towards what we are talking in terms of resources. And resources are in terms of, if I have to do review of literature, what is the strength of our library? I do not know. What is the strength of IEP? Right? You work on those lines. Do you have all types of data sources, which are online data sources? Do you have an access to EBSCOS, Science Direct, right? No, I do not know. I just want to understand from you. These are some of the online data. In terms of Probis is there, then A-Security database is there, Capline is there. So I just want to understand, if we have all these things, I do not know why then there is a need for any fund from the funding agency. The researcher has to, a professor has to sit on his desk, identify an area. On the basis of that, I just want to do a research in finance. I just want to see what is the impact of foreign currency, movements in onward stock exchange prices. So what I have to do, I have to take a time series data out over there. And what is a database? If I have that database, I'll collect data from there and start applying what? Various types of research tools and techniques. But for that, again, NEC is required in terms, do we have that expertise to do that research? So my request to you is what? That try to have two types of research. One is funded research and then the non-funded research, and see the quality difference. And you feel that the person who is doing a non-funded research, that too with a very small amount of funding which can be done by the IP for data collection and all, and that is found to be better. I think you yourself will start realizing that research does not require what? Money. Research requires passion. I put it like that, geniusness is only 1%, perspiration is 99%. You really have to sit on this table and really you have to work hard to do the research. You do not require going to ICSR to get the funds. So this is one thing. Secondly, what I just want is that whatever research article is published by any type of a research faculty, are you putting it on SSRN network, Social Sciences Research Network? I have not seen any article of IPE faculty on SSRN network. Yeah, Social Sciences Research Network. No, that is a separate thing. Because why? Because you are basically doing research in the area of social sciences. Moment you put your article over there in Social Sciences Research Network, you'll start getting lot of reviews. and that will add to automatically a global recognition. I just like to put on record, most of my articles are on SSRN network. What has helped me in that? Now I am getting review for international articles of international journals. And they are sending those articles to me, Professor, you kindly review these articles. And for that, for 100 days, you will have a free access to our journals and many more facilities they are offering me. So that means you say you want to have a global recognition and visibility. Don't try to talk in terms of IPE. You talk in terms of the faculty belonging to what? IPE. And if IPE faculty can have that recognition, take my word for granted, your institution will be on global footprints. It is the faculty which makes the institution to grow. That is very important, right? Then another thing which I was noticing out over here, you as an institution, you say you are not authorized to award the degree of PhD. And that is why you have some 10 universities with which you have collaborated. And the student is jointly registered with IPE and that university. But I do not know to what extent you are trying to put the thesis of your students on Shodh Ganga, which is a repository of UGC. I have not seen any report. No, I have not seen any PhD report of IPE. I do not know because मैंने भी पीछे देखा था, तो I could not see your name. Now, अगर आप ऐसी repositories पे नहीं होंगे, तो ultimately फिर recognition कहाँ से आएगा? Are you getting my point? आप ये देखिए, आइडेंटिफाई करिए, ये जो इंटरनेशनल एक्रेडिटेड, जैसे आपने बताया, इन्होंने बताया एपेक्स इंस्टीट्यूशन, यूजीसी का जो शोध गंगा है वो भी अपने आप में क्या है कि वो पूरा जितना भी पूरे कंट्री में जो पीएचडी रिसर्च होता है, दैट इज़ टू बी पुट आउट ओवर देयर. यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के लिए तो ये कंपलसरी है, बट आई थिंक और भी इंस्टीट्यूशंस को वो मना नहीं करते हैं. आई थिंक यू कैन बेसिकली वर्क ऑन दोज पर्टिकुलर लाइन्स दैट यू कैन put whatever PhD is being done out over there. Now, another thing which I am trying to find out over here, and I think I pointed out previously also, that why don't you look in for how exactly entrepreneurship as a discipline can be promoted?
We have a subject in PG.
Sir, now there is no need to have a subject, now there is a need to have a center. You're trying to talk a center for, because a lot of emphasis is on skill development. And when we are trying to have a lot of emphasis on skill development, and we have national level councils, National Skill Development Council, and many more councils are there, I think they are working very hard in the area of what? Entrepreneurship. And I think whatever students you're trying to have, like you are having a lot of PG programs, it is not necessary that they have always to look in for what? Jobs. So what you can do is that, and I am finding a lot of startups are coming up, and a lot of foundations are there. I was looking at Tata Foundation, Infosys Foundation, right? And these are all stalwarts who have retired from their organizations as the chairpersons. And now they have started collaborating with whom? With the institutions to basically create startups. And they are funding a lot. I went out over there to Delhi School of Commerce, and there was a conference out over there, and I could see that Narayan Murthy was invited out over there, and he was giving a talk. I was listening to his talk, and he said, we have a lot of funds. But institutions, academic institutions are not collaborating with us. So what I was trying to look in for, you are sitting over in Hyderabad, you can identify some top groups of Hyderabad, and then write to them that we are running these types of programs, and we are interested that we should have some type of collaborative entrepreneurship programs where we are in a position to get the funding from you. And for this entrepreneurship program, I think institutions like I was just trying to look in for, DST give a lot of funding. Then we have NABARD who gives a lot of funding. Then we have this Ministry of MSME, they give a lot of funding. SIDBI is another organization which gives a lot of funding. Then we have other banks also which give a lot of funding for what, organizing these types of programs. I think when you talk in terms of funds and doing some type of training program, you can cash on these agencies for those types of funding. That can be, and also you can do a lot of research in the area of what? Entrepreneurship. When you're doing as a part of CSR or sustainability, corporate governance, I think entrepreneurship is also one area. And then there are different dimensions of entrepreneurship. Cyber entrepreneurship is one, social entrepreneurship is another, woman entrepreneurship is another. Then we talk in terms of entrepreneurship programs for SC/ST category, right? And then we are talking in terms, आज के दिन तो मैं देख रहा हूँ solar energy पे entrepreneurship programs हो रहे हैं. And people are trained how exactly they can start their occupation as what? Solar energy. MSME organizations are conducting these types of training programs. You can tie up with them and say, let these programs be conducted out over here. You provide them the facility, and on the basis of that, you can get a lot of funding from them. So I think this is one area where you can really cash on, and you can even try to have something called as incubation facility. So over here, I'll just give you a clue that there is one organization called as NSIC, National Small Industries Corporation, right? And they are promoting incubation centers in top level institutions. And since you are number one in terms of crores of papers and number two in terms of, and all these rankings are going to help you. And once you basically give these types of rankings and reports to whom? NSIC, definitely they will be motivated to basically create what? And under that incubation center, I think they have some scheme. I forgot that name, that particular scheme. They provide funding of 1 crore. They came to our university and they said, ki, we want to set up an entrepreneurship, this incubation center. So I wrote a note to the Honorable Vice Chancellor. Vice Chancellor asked me, हमारे पास पैसा बहुत है, हमें तो पैसे की जरूरत ही नहीं है, हम तो अपना incubation center बनाएंगे. मैंने कहा सर बात ही खत्म हो गई. जब हमें अपना बनाना है तो हमें तो पैसे की जरूरत ही नहीं है, तो हमें फिर उनकी स्कीम के क्या लेना है. And that person was very much discouraged when he heard these words from where. उन्होंने कहा कि हम पैसा देना चाहते हैं, आप पैसा लेना नहीं चाहते हैं. कह रहे हैं हमारे पास पैसा ही बहुत है. So I think you basically can be one of the institution who can basically look in for those areas. Besides that, I will also advise you that you can fix up a day, at least one day in a month, where all your faculty members along with the research scholars can sit together. Like you are trying to have a research council meeting in which we are the people from outside. But do you have these types of meetings for the internal faculty also? No, I think what is very important is that, yeah, because your faculty people are the guide. And they have a lot of ideas in their mind. And then we have the research scholars. Let the mind-boggling takes place. And you encourage presentation made either by a research scholar or a faculty compulsory during that time. And trying to identify what are the new and new areas of research. Because ultimately research has to basically come out in terms of good ideas. And good ideas can only be possible through brainstorming. And we also started to have this type of an idea over there in IP University. But वो आपको पता है government